Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our programs that we featured time to time on Gunjur Online. Today, again, after a long period, we are back to discuss issues pertaining the SeneGambian region. Once again, greetings to you wherever you are, our followers and our listeners, those who are watching live and those who are going to watch after all. Once again, it is dialogue with the youth. So Gunjur Online TV with your host Ebrima Scattred Janneh. Today, things happening in our region and the SeneGambian region particularly. That's some of the issues that we are going to discuss, of course, with our brother Sulayman Ben Suwareh. Welcome to Dialogue with the Youth so on Gunjur Online, brother Ben. Once again, your platform. Brother, welcome and say hi to our listeners wherever you are. I know you have a very, very busy schedule, and our respect to you, heart off to you, definitely for your energy, for your time, for the sake of the motherland and for the sake of Africa generally. Welcome, brother Ben.
Thank you very much, Ebrima. Thank you for inviting me on my platform, our platform, Gunjur Online. And I think I'm echoing.
You seems fine. You seems fine to
Um,
me anyway. Let's
yeah?
see how it goes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I can hear myself echoing. Do you have a device open?
Um. No, no for me, not for me.
Uh,
Yeah,
you're
there's
echoing.
echo for me.
I think it's from
I
your
can
side.
hear.
You're echoing.
Oh, right. Let me see. I don't know why is that happening.
It seems to stop now. It has stopped now.
The mic, probably that's why. Yeah.
No,
Then I can still hear it. Maybe it's from your end, don't you think
no,
so?
I didn't have anything on.
All right. I don't think I have anything on here.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, let me just change my mic and see. 1 minute. Okay, let's try again, Ibrahim. Ibrahim.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Ben, I can
Ibrahim.
hear you.
Okay, okay. I've took off my mic. Probably it was my mic.
Yeah.
I took the mic off. Oh, okay. It says Ibrahim. Not okay. It's okay now, yeah.
Yes, it seems okay now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Ibrahim, for inviting me on Gunjo Online. And it's a pleasure always to be on this platform and to discuss about national issues and regional issues, especially what is going on in the SeneGambia region today, or Senegal for that matter. Thank you very much. The implications of that to our national security and to regional security as well. Thank you very much, Ibrahim.
Thank you. Greetings to Sister Mariam C and Abu Bakari. And Ben, some people call it constitutional coup d'etat in Senegal. Some call it democratic confiscations in Senegal. But what we are certain is there's a political tension in Senegal. It's not new. We thought this is coming and we can see it coming, but nobody dares to convince yourself that Magisal can go to this length to abrogate constitutionally, especially elections. So that is a surprise to all of you, to everybody. And what we can do is, what is the implication for this country, Senegal, and definitely across Gambia? This decision to annul and completely going system of man the political leadership. How is it going to affect sub-region, especially the Gambia, the neighbors of Senegal, almost we said we are. how is this tension going to affect the Gambia, going to affect Senegal, and of course, ECOWAS in general and the sub-region?
Thank you, Ibrahim. I think you are breaking. You can adjust your. I can hear you, but it's breaking a bit. You can adjust your speaker or mic or something like that. We're still having that interruption again.
Yes, yes. I can hear you. Yes. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ibrahim, I'll first and foremost say that it's not a surprise to me, and people that followed my um, deliberation on Senegal, and from when the crisis started with Pastef, Usman Sonko, and it went on. I came to the conclusion that everything it was about Macky Sall muscling himself to stay in power, and technically to stay in power indefinitely. Most people are saying, "Oh, he wants a third term." No, he wants a definite state of power. And let me just digress on that. Um, we witnessed this history of Macky Sall coming to power and how he came into power. It was at the back of a resistance movement that resisted for the third term or the continuity of the PDS, that the Ablaye Wada's regime, because it's a continuation. If Ablaye Wada have won a third term, or he was already allowed, if he had won a third term, his son was going to take over, and that regime would have continued and hold Senegal ransom for a long time. But for a long time. Now, we have to understand from that pressure that Senegal fought, led by civil society and opposition, the Yanamar movement, and because of Ibrahim, are you okay there? I cannot hear you, but I'm not sure whether.
You know, I mute myself.
Yeah, okay. And because of the strategy Abdoulaye Wade tried to put in place that denies Macky Sall the right or the opportunity to succeed him by running on the PDS ticket. And he was sacked from the party, and he went and formed his own party. And he used the party in order to, he formed his party and used the movement, this Yanamar movement with the other opposition. They tried to stop the third term, for whether they could not, but they went through the elections, and through the coalition, they won, and he won the elections. And he came for his first term. He did certain things that people thought, yeah, he was just trying to redress the corruption when he went for Abdoulaye Wade's son, but later changed and went for the other prominent opposition, which was Halifa Sallah, the then mayor of Dakar. And from there on, we witnessed him removing people that came with him, and started to invite people from the PDS itself, the rivals, into government, and continued. And when next minute, what he did is went for the rest of the opposition by inviting them into government and neutralized them. That left us with Pastef, led by Usman Sonko. And from then on, he had an opportunity, a mistake or something, miscalculation or a bad judgment Usman Sonko did by visiting the massage parlor. They used that as a conspiracy to try to damage him, and that's how the legal cases continued. Because he's failed. Because the minute they exposed the conspiracy on that matter, the Ajisad case, they had to try and look for something else, and they went with Mamba Nyang to try to get him on defamation. We should also remember that defamation is a civil suit, but the government took it onto themselves to prosecute the matter. And with all those hurdles, arresting him, accusing him, and went for the Pastef movement itself and arrest them and everything else, he had to abandon the third term. But now it's coming clear that he have not actually abandoned the third term. He's still pursuing the third term. He intentionally created a crisis within his own party. That's why you have the split. He chose a person who's unpopular, has his prime minister, to be a candidate, but continue to undermine that candidate. And had to other candidates within the contest. That's what even led for the constitutional district to end up having 20 candidates. Most of those candidates, some of those candidates are candidates for him to disrupt the system. But still, Pastef, he tried provoking and doing everything, and the population of Senegal just stood and waited for the elections to start. He doesn't have a choice. Now he went again in bed with Karim Wade of PDS. Look, Karim has not been in Senegal for how many years now? Up to today, Karim is not in Senegal. How can he be a credible candidate? Look, the Constitutional Court took a decision and eliminated Sonko, eliminated Karim and others. Sonko did not protest, but he knew that if he wanted to insist, then the party would not have a candidate. He made sure that they have enough candidates to represent the party. And now that coalition, because he dismantled the party itself, Pastef, which is illegally done as well. But they had a candidate on by Bassirou Diomaye Faye, and the rest of the candidates supported by Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Now, for everything he played, Sonko have played him out. Now, the popularity of Pastef even became, more evident. And they did their polling and everything else, and it became very clear to them that Pastef will win the elections even fourth round, or their coalition will win the election fourth round. Now, what did he have to do? He had to go and manufacture and accuse the Constitutional Court and say that he wants to bring a discussion, a dialogue, a discussion in order to redress this situation. And that's a fraud. For first, if it was the last elections, both Khalifa Saleh and Karim were disqualified. Why? Now, these people he have sentenced, in fact, and they still have not paid for the fines. He wants these people to be qualified. But people have not been sentenced properly. He doesn't want them to qualify because they belong to a Pastef. And other, Aminata Toure, who I understand just been arrested, and other candidates that are anti-establishment or supporting or peer opposition. Now, let's come to the legality of this action. Ebrima, the Constitutional Commission, according to the Senegalese electoral rules, and according to the Constitution, is the cause of last resort. It's just like the Supreme Court, in the sense, in America, or Supreme Court in the Gambia, because we don't have a Constitutional Court. Once they take a decision, that decision stands. You cannot appeal that decision to a lower court. Parliament cannot change that because it's a separation of powers. Parliament Commission cannot invite a judge. They cannot summon a judge. Then what's the point of that? A degree cannot nullify a constitutional position, then that's a coup d'etat. That's why military use degrees to store this. Now, he is forcing, knowing that he's doing something illegal, created a crisis. Even in war, people go to elections. America went to elections during war. Congo just went to elections and they had a war. Most part of these things are destabilized. Senegal is not in war. They don't have a national emergency. There's no crisis. But he has manufactured a crisis because of his party is unpopular, because his candidate he doesn't want, because of he wants to hold on to power. And let's put this right. The elections are not suspended. They've been, abandoned. If you suspend something or postpone something, you give a date, scheduled date. But no. The constitution the electoral listing have already determined when elections should be, campaign start and everything else. And the 2nd of April, he cannot be a president anymore. There's no other law you can bring out from parliament which is constitutional to go against the constitution to say that second this person sit to be president and whoever won the elections should be. You see, now it has become very clear that his intention is to hold on to power. And we're going to ask ourselves, why? We're going to ask ourselves, why? But now this have constituted a military, a constitutional coup, just as what the military does. The military do it with a weapon. He does it with the executive powers and the incumbents he has to suppress the will of the people and hijack the constitution. That's the precedence he have created for Senegal. Now, if this stands, then another president can do the same thing, isn't it? It becomes a law. Now, it's just nothing to be called apart from a coup d'etat. His own prime minister, his candidate, is on record yesterday to say that he did not expect this thing to happen. That's why people didn't expect it to happen in Senegal, because Senegal was the signpost for African democracy. Now they have lost that. I expect it to happen because I see it coming. I see it being structured. And the reason is corruption. Remember, I wrote an article I said, the natural resources of Senegal, especially petroleum and gas, is the cause of this trying to hold on to power. It's the same reason Abdoulaye Wade tried to stay onto power and his family. And it's the same reason he wants to hold on to power. When they discovered oil and they went into exploration, all the contracts written or went into by Abdoulaye Wade, Macky Sall, constituted a review. And he got out of those contracts, but he went and signed up to even worse contracts, where a single individual who have invested technically nothing and had the shares of $10 billion. And from that $10 billion, who benefited? Macky Sall's brother. Technically, Senegal didn't benefit at all. You see, once you commit those crimes, and as it went on, as Senegalese resisted, as Pastef resisted, Macky Sall committed crime last year by importing weapons, storing weapons at the State House, by using militias to go out and shoot at Senegalese, by using the police, using the Zanam to harass and kill and incarcerate over 2,000 political prisoners, most of them youths. Not only that, disappearance. Intelligence officers in the army and Zanam disappeared, and one of the victims' body, dismembered body, were found. The same thing Yaya Jammeh does. In a nutshell, last year alone, Macky Sall committed all the crimes that Yaya Jammeh have committed. People around Macky Sall committed all the crimes that people around Yaya Jammeh have committed. And now, in fact, he have committed a crime that Yaya Jammeh committed after and elections were declared. But he has, in fact, done what dictators don't do. But dictators even go to elections. He refused to go to the elections. There's no justification in the laws of Senegal. I'm not a lawyer, but I have followed people with credibility. I've consulted people with credibility and looked at it. It's unconstitutional and it's a coup d'etat. Now, this is the situation we have. Let me let you come in there.
Thank you, Brother Ben. And once again, to remind you that we are discussing about the constitutional coup d'etat in Senegal, and some call it a constitutional democratic confiscation.
because there's an election scheduled to take place, presidential election in Senegal, that is on the 25th of this year. But for some reason, the president decided that the election will not take place. As Brother Ben said, this is dictatorship. Brother Ben, I remember you said Macky Sall is a dictator, and a lot of people disagree with you. I remember also Pastor Majao also allegedly since last year said, Macky Sall is a dictator, and a lot of people disagree with him, came after him and all those things and said, no, he's not a dictator. We have seen a lot happening in Senegal, and Senegal is tense today. There are huge concern to the destabilization of Senegal, or probably a military coup d'etat can happen in Senegal. Brother Ben, we see what implication will this have for ECOWAS? What implication, because we see some African countries, now divorce themselves from ECOWAS completely, and Gambia specifically, because we have a president whose policy is to listen or follow Macky Sall for everything. These two countries are just one in essence. Everything is all collided. They're all into each other. If this is happening in Senegal, what implication is it there for Gambia? What implication is there for Senegal? What implication is there for stability and the existence of ECOWAS? And of course, why, other than when Brother Ben, this is why you are emphasizing on corruption all the time.
Yes.
And people don't take corruption seriously, but at the back of all this dictatorship and these brutalities and constitutional coup d'etats, whatever name you want to give it, is corruption. So, now people will beginning to see you. I don't think people give you the credit that you deserve. When you are talking about corruption is not only stealing money, but, to come at any length to cover yourself, even if that means to be the destruction of a country, of a region, you yourself and the whole of your family, because this is where that's going to end. But that's what corruption at certain level does. So people, you are vindicated once again, to keep emphasizing about corruption and corruption. But the implication for Gambia, for Senegal itself, for ECOWAS and the region, and why should we take, and all the more we should take corruption so seriously, Brother Ben? Go ahead, the implication for the Gambia and the others.
Thank you. Before I take again, okay, let me emphasize on the corruption again. You see, the corruption is, what corruption does is the mother of all evil. Because, look, at the first term of Macky Sall's reign, we were in a dictatorship. Alaji, the comparisons of good practice, good governance, examples were given in Africa. Senegal was the example. But because of what it had, more robust institutions, and governance was better. Democracy was better, was more mature. It was uninterrupted. But in order for Macky Sall to achieve his objective, what makes him even want to achieve those objectives, which are not the interests of the people, is because he became corrupt. Now he has to surround himself with people that would support him in that form. And in order to achieve that, he has to use corruption to corrupt the institutions and put in place people that would. Now, that's how he corrupted the judiciary. That's how he corrupted the independent institutions, the police, gendarme, and so on. That's how he corrupted the National Assembly and corrupted the civil society and had control over Senegal. But thank God, with the resilience and the innovative politics introduced by the young dynamic leaders of PASTEF, Senegal would have gone, to third term straight away if it was not for this organized resistance. Because Macky have, succeeded in neutralizing every other form of opposition. But these people had to stand up to him and control him. This is why it's important to hold countries accountable, to hold ourselves accountable, institutions accountable. It deters corruption, because corruption is the mother of all evil. Now, what implication does this have for Gambia? Many. Let's first look at our security. Technically, since the transition, we still 100% depend. You see, every country will have an aspect or percentage of their dependency of security to their neighbor. But you cannot contract out your security. 100% of our security is contracted out to Senegal. Now, if Senegal is in crisis, you think they'll have time for Gambia?
No.
If let me put this clearly, if we have elements within our security forces and who were planning or thinking, would they not see that as the opportunist moment to go for the government?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the guarantors of our security are completely destabilized. They are looking inwards than looking outwards. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
But again, the dependence of this our government survival on strategies, tactics, advice from the same government that have been proven to be undemocratic, proven that it's corrupt, proven that they will go to any length because of everything that Barrow does. You can see it from what Macky Sall have done. We don't have time to go into everything, but if anybody challenge, we all not know, either you don't know what's in the Gambia and Senegal, or you are just a hypocrite. From everything where he governs, up to the point of bringing non-entities as advisors. Macky Sall have someone called Fanbanko, one of his special advisors, that he appointed as special advisors. That person ended up being an MP and being a mayor. The guy is not educated. The guy was like Dusano, following Rasulin organizations and so on, running for marabouts for Rasulas. He's an errand boy for Rasulas. How can you take that person in the 21st century as a special advisor and empower them? And he's not the only one. There are so many of them. He has introduced people who are only known for one thing: destruction, insults, to be mayors or to be members of parliament. Didn't we see that in the Gambia?
Yes, I'm just going to say the Barrow is, the presidential advisor.
Devised tribalism, using his ethnicity and dividing other ethnics. He has used that in many ways. We have seen that last election fraudulently stolen the same way it was fraudulently stolen in the Gambia. And I can tell you, the people that advise part of this part and aspect, the technical aspect of stealing the elections and facilitating the robbing of the elections are Senegalese citizens, Senegalese intelligence, Senegalese government.
In the Gambia,
I then exposed that before the elections. People doubt me and they saw it. Now, we have seen the corruption and how it's structured, contracts and so on. The lack of priority for Senegal. Building stadiums, building wrestling these things when you still cannot feed yourselves. Building roads to nowhere. Concentrating as Dakar is the only place in Senegal. We have seen the failure of those policies. We have seen the amount of Senegalese youths taking the back way. If you look at it, it's the same mirror image in the Gambia. They might be even a little bit better in handling some of the situation. We have seen even some of those business people that Macky Sall works, they are the one working with,
Barrow.
Barrow. Where is the OIC hotel? It's a friend of Macky Sall. Now Macky Sall even, facilitates his citizens to come and rob us. This is a fact. Now, imagine if Gambians did not learn from what Pastef went through, did not learn from the mistakes of the other opposition, mainstream opposition, to stand together, to strategize, to be proactive, holding accountability. We will be doomed. Because of, if Macky gets away with this, what's up Adama Barrow from doing the same thing?
Nothing.
Now, and if you can see the reason why, it's the same reason of the corruption and everything else. Adama Barrow would want someone to take over from him who who can assure him his security. Failure to do that, Adama Barrow would not leave power. People talk about third term. No, he will not leave power because there's nothing to stop him. Even if it was in the constitution. How many countries have changed their constitution?
Oh, a lot in Africa. That's nothing more to it.
You see, even if you fight for let's have a new constitution, 2 terms means nothing. What it really means is can you hold that the government to accountability? This is something that we should learn from Senegal, and it's going to affect us. This is about democracy, about rule of law. This is something that we should learn from, because it's bound to affect us. And Alaji, if you come to West Africa, you see, again, most people I made a post anticipating. I said, let's listen to what ECOWAS is going to come up with. Later you can read that, we can go through that. But let's remember that the countries that had overthrown governments in West Africa have decided to leave ECOWAS because they feel that ECOWAS is treating them differently. ECOWAS put them under sanctions and putting them under pressure, trying to force them to try to go to what they call a democratic process. But it's the same ECOWAS allowing Ivory Coast, allowing any other country to do as they wish, and they call themselves civilian government or call themselves democratic government, and recently, which is Senegal, to overthrow constitutions, to disregard the rule of law, to suppress their people. And what statement do they come up with? They come up with a statement that is condescending, come up with a statement that is endorsing, in fact, the wrongs that have been done. Now, where is West Africa heading to now? You think that any other person or people that wanted to destabilize a country, you think they would consider ECOWAS as a muscle to be fair?
No.
You think any military that want to overthrow will think of ECOWAS doing to resolve it? No. ECOWAS backbone have been, the gains they have when they intervene in Gambia, that gains have evaporated. We have seen what is happening in Sierra Leone. Stealing of elections and prosecution of ex-presidents. Now we have seen what is happening in Guinea-Bissau. Dissolving parliament by a president. And I'll give you my prediction. Don't be surprised tomorrow. Wake up and hear there's a coup d'etat in Guinea-Bissau. Don't be surprised tomorrow to hear there's a coup d'etat in Ivory Coast. And what will happen in Senegal will be determine what Senegal is doing. Ebrima, the only thing with Senegal is a little bit more structured, a little bit more mature. But now it depends how the president is going to go through this and how the opposition are going to tackle this. Then the security forces, that's how they're going to react. If don't rule out the army coming out to take over power, in two senses. They might do what they did in Gabon. Is it Gabon or where they did an internal kind of a police coup?
Yeah.
But it will be a continuity. But if that happened, I can tell you the people would not rest. The only solution would be for Macky Sall to come back to his senses and walk back and elections to be held now. If he continued, one, there might be pressure might get to him and he might want an army officer to replace him, which again will continue to destabilize Senegal because Senegal will continue to fight.
Yeah.
Two, the command, I'm not talking about the high command, but part of the command might come out and say that, look, we are going to restore stability here. And they might take over and to allow the constitutional electoral process to go through. That might happen. But if the opposition fail, civil society fail, Senegalese fail, the international fail, to hold Senegal accountable and Macky Sall get away with it to extend his stay any time after the elections, that spells disaster for Senegal and spell disaster for Gambia and the West African region and democracy for that matter.
Disaster
Let's
for
remember
Gambia,
that,
disaster for the sub-region. Brother Ben, Mr. Cham said, Macky Sall is now arresting people, opposition leaders, and all those things for their democratic rights in Senegal. That's happening currently. So Senegal is in turmoil, no doubt about that. Ben, and definitely we need to give credit to PASTIF. This organization with what they're going through, but they are forcing Macky Sall to kind of unmask him, to show to the world this is not the president you think he is, because once he's challenged, once his faults are excavated, we see the true color of Macky Sall. Before everybody was saying Senegal Macky Sall is the architect, even though we know Ablaye Wade how he played. At the end of the day, he messed up big time. But if Karim is being lewd also after giving credit to PASTIF, where is Ablaye Wade in this? 1, 2. Macky Sall from 2nd of February was supposed to leave power. Constitutionally, he should not be there now. Now, who is going to continue? Is it going to be him now? So the implication, the chaos in Senegal, before we come to ECOWAS communique, but now, he's bringing Karim there, and the dad, where is he? How is he into this? And of course, we can learn a lot from PASTIF, and also in Senegal, because we're going to move very soon. We have other things. We saw Councilor Kemo Bojang and MC Jam Jr. went to meet PASTIF mayor and other officials in the Ribeos prison in Dakar. The Jamil Sane, the mayor of Pasil, Bilal Jata, and all those things. Do you think this is a good move for anyway? I don't know whether they are doing on behalf of the party, but these are top people in the party, Ben. Go ahead. Ben, you are in meet, I think. You are meted,
Yeah, you have to give credit to PASTIF. Remember when PASTIF was fighting, what the government managed to do was to make it a PASTIF problem, or their violence, and so on. It's an arrogance of Usman Sonko. He doesn't respect the rule of law and everything else. You see, again, Gambians should learn from this. Just like when UDP comes out, they say they are violent, they are tribalists, they are this, they are this. That's the divide. And the rest of the parties and civil society Gambians will say, oh, it's UDP problem with the government. No, it's about rule of law, it's about democracy. And that's what the other mainstream opposition, in fact, stood back. Now it dawned on them and proven, PASTIF have proven and exposed Macky Sall, not only domestically but internationally, for who he is. Now it dawned on them. Now even other opposition, this thing came out to say that no, this is a coup d'etat, we should not allow this. Macky Sall supporters are coming out to say no. His prime minister said no. His brother, his own brother, Alusal.
Is it the prime minister or somebody else, a high senior official? He resigned, isn't it?
No, that's the civil service secretary of the civil service. You see, and other people are resigning, and his own brother, Alusal, have given interview before him taking the decision. He's advising his brother not to do it. We should just try and keep the peace. Now, this is what happened. That's why we should learn from them and give them credit. That's how I do it. Now, about UDP guys going to Senegal with PASTIF, I think it's very strategic. But I hope they learn from PASTIF. I am sure that they would not have gone there if the party secretary general and the executive of the party did not approve of it. They went there because they approve of it. And remember too, before they went there, PASTIF sent a delegation to Gambia, and that delegation met their UDP party leader. Now, not only passive, but even civil society should work across the borders. There's nothing wrong, and that should even be supported, that opposition across work together, just as government work together. We should be proactive, and I support that move. It's strategic, but let it be fruitful. I mean, all institutions should work across, across borders for this matter.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. I just want to read the communique of ECOMOG, which says, the Commission of the ECOMOG Community of West Africa States takes note of the decision that the Senegalese authorities have taken to postpone the presidential elections scheduled to take place on the 25th February 2024. The ECOWAS Commission expressed concern over the circumstances that have led to the postponement of the elections and appeals to the competent authorities to expedite the various processes in order to set a new date for the elections. The Commission further urged the entire political class to prioritize dialogue and collaboration for transparent, including inclusive and credible elections. The ECOWAS Commission salutes President Macky Sall for upholding his earlier decision not to run for another term and encourages him to continue to defend and protect Senegal's long-standing democratic tradition. Ben, this communique is vague. Yes, Ben, you are meeting. It's so vague, it's so one-sided, and it's just kind of generally brushing and blaming everybody for the problem that is in Senegal. Go ahead, Ben.
Now, just listen to what they said, yeah? Think about how ECOWAS came against when Burkina Faso, Guinea, and other places made a coup d'etat. How strongly did they come up? Mali and others. Just imagine, in fact, Niger. When Niger, the statement that came out from ECOWAS, condemnation. But let me give you the key words here. Note, take note, postpone, concern, a date set, salute, and dialogue. What of these words represent condemnation?
None of them.
None. Now, listen to this. They take note of what? It's a crime. A president does not have, we have separation of power in governance. The president cannot determine. Once it's a law that determines it, the law gives the responsibility to determine. Once he has already announced it, now it's out of his hands. There's another law which is part of the constitution and the electoral laws that should determine. You cannot have the president to have the powers to break a law whenever he wants. You cannot have a president change a constitution whenever he wants. That's not what constitution stands for. What it stands for. Now, the word postpone. The election is not postponed. Postpone means to give it another date. Why should they even encourage a postpone? Because they're following the things, but they know that no laws, there's no crisis here to allow this. Macky Sall should not have done this without consulting them. Now, concern. They just concern. There's nothing as they express concern. And they're asking Macky Sall to determine another date. Where's the condemnation? Why is the threat of a sanction? Now, they said a dialogue. Why a dialogue? Why not the rule of law? Why can't they point him to the rule of law? Why don't they point him to the constitution? Remember, Macky Sall used the same word dialogue to say allow. Did he allow even those politicians to come in? No. That's his way of controlling things. He continued again to take salute. Why would they close this thing to credit him for what? And now you look at that letter, who signed it, you will not see the name of the person signing it. Normally, their letters are signed by the president of ECOWAS. Did you see that? That shows you this dishonesty in the ECOWAS. To show you how ECOWAS have lowered themselves. They know that. They know that they're doing something wrong. That's why that letter, in fact, it's not been written properly. It's not been officiated properly. When I first saw the letter, I thought it was a fake letter. Because look at the closing. But knowing ECOWAS, I was not surprised. This is the situation we find ourselves. And if Gambia, we continue not to fight for our good governance, to do things, expect ECOWAS would this thing, Senegal would this is what we're going to have. They are not fit for purpose. They are not fit for purpose. In order to avoid destabilizing our country, let's use this space to encourage social justice, to encourage democracy and the practice of rule of law.
And the practice of rule of law. Ben, you can mute yourself while I'm talking, so that this noise, I don't know how to handle it, but it's just irritating me here. Brother Ben, saying that now we're talking about corruption. We saw in the Gambia, and according to what's on Gambia, I think, there's a new ground handling company at the airport called Nero, and Gambians still don't know, the owner of the company and why they were given the license to operate when we already have the GIA, and also we see, because governments is just privatizing, surreptitiously, secretly, and through corruption, our institutions. Nobody says you should not privatize institutions and all those things, but the manner and the speed that you're doing it. The government recently also sold 60% of Gamcell to the private sector, and who are the new shareholders and why were they selected? Nobody knows. Then the amount of corruption and the degradation in our public space by our government in the Gambia is so blatant and so sporadic, to the extent that you will think any country will wake up and raise their voice. But no, Gambians decided to be mute and take the difficult decisions. And this government, we allow them to put our heads together, through regional nonsenses, through things that are not necessary, through so-called corruption. And I heard you at the Freedom newspaper. There's no tribalism in the Gambia. Our tribalism, is the government created, but not at the ground. But Ben, how can they get so comfortable to the extent that they are doing? And also, we have about nearly 36,935.64 metric ton of Russian diesels, which was allegedly rejected by Togo, Ghana, but was smuggled in the Gambia. Bro, these are some of the things that are happening there, and Gambians are so quiet. And then we say Gambia is peaceful. What peace is there in the Gambia? Are you aware of all these things happening in the country? Go ahead, Ben.
Thank you, Alaji. Ibrahim. Okay, the company that took over or participating in the ground handling at the airport, I knew about them. I looked into it before, but I'm overwhelmed. Things I have to deal with. I think the background is, I think the one of the owners or people around it, they're running restaurants in the Gambia. They have no expertise in ground handling. And do you know the interesting part of this? There's an article somewhere that the chairman, board of directors of GIA, Scattred Janneh, said that they were not aware. How can a board of directors not be aware of such a decision? And they are pointed that by giving this thing is affecting the operation of GIA. Because how many flights do come to Gambia to handle? But again, how can the decision be taken that the board of directors didn't know? Because of State House know about it. It's all corruption to State House. That's why it happened. And you see, just as the security report, women, people that are still complaining. It's affecting tourism, and the money gained or collected, and we're not even benefiting. Gambians don't even know how to spend. And it's the audit report said that. Mulligan investigation came and said that. But we knew that this is what's going to happen. But it's still continuing because Gambians accept it. If you come to the area of Gamta and Gamsel, Ibrahim, since this government came to power, what did they do? Why could they not have transformed that? Why could they not have done it right? I am not against privatization, but do it rightly. But we know that the secrecy or someone did this or someone, it's not clear. They just come out and say that 60% is gone. Why 60%? Why? That means that that person is holding majority shares. Do you know why? Because that person bribed them and dictated what he wants or what they want. Because the government should always maintain the majority share. How much did they sell it for? These are the things that we need. But I'll tell you, the competence of the House of Parliament is not there to prove anything. It's another doom time. That's why Gambians should be proactive in this. Now, let's come to the oil. Alaji, how many publications did I do about the Russian oil scandal?
A lot.
Alaji, do you know up to, they have not paid tax on something almost $2 billion. They have not been paid tax. Do you know why? Adama Barrow and the First Lady allow it because they have kickbacks from it. Now, the entire petroleum market is distorted because of this Russian oil, Samsung busting oil contracts. Now, I said this again, that the quality of the oil is challenged. But, you know, if only Gambians are consumers, nothing would have come out of it. Because of the airlines coming to refill from us, realize that they buy dirty oil, substandard jet fuel. What did they do? They stopped buying it. Now, people having to fly from Gambia to Senegal, refill, and go. Alaji, this is how much Barrow is dismantling the country. Remember the entire Gam Petroleum, this thing, how much campaign I've done that about that?
Many times, many times.
You even had to hear opposition talk about Gam Petroleum. I spent almost a year on Gam Petroleum. Before the crisis, to the crisis, because I was proactive and took ownership of it and run with it. Now the Russian this thing, I broke it online. I investigated it. I exposed everything now coming out. That's why I just stayed back, because I've said everything on it and it's just been proven now. The tax, everything else. That's why Yankuba Dabo at GRA will not leave GRA until Barrow leaves GRA, because look, this is why the poor people are paying all the tax. Small, medium businesses and poor are paying all the tax. And now the medium businesses understanding what you have to do, join NPP, and your tax would not be as it should be. Now the market women would be paying the tax for us. That's why we are in what we are.
Yeah, brother Ben, what is just surprising, really, and this is so annoying. You know, the Gambian this Apogee FZC, there's a Russian company that's not registered in the Gambia.
No.
But allowed to do business and transfer over $1 billion to Dubai, $1 billion to Dubai, without paying a single tax, a butu to GR.
It's over $1 billion, let's say.
Over $1 billion tax.
Yeah.
Over $1 billion. That means millions and millions. But without paying a single butu into GRA. And now my mom, my poor families, my sisters who do gardening and take their vegetables from Gunjur, the fair is at the rooftop. They go and they tax them this amount of tax. And you have an international company operating without license in the Gambia, no tax paid. Who is this money? Who is benefiting from this? Because somebody somewhere has to be an anchor behind these people for them to have the audacity to do this in the Gambia. And the money flight is crazy. Over $1 billion is go to Dubai straight away, all siphoned from the Gambia, and we are not benefiting. It's only a tiny minority of Gambians who are benefiting. And now they are saying all lies about tax and taxing my mom, my sisters, who didn't have any education. They are supposed to be the backbone of the country, the agriculture, if there is any, but no support, and they are being taxed like nobody's business. Brother, who is benefiting from this?
Now, I can tell you, the name is Mr. Jabi. I cannot remember the name, but I think it's Ebrima Jabi. Ebrima Jabi works, he's the guy working with the First Lady. Anyway, whatever the First Lady earns is President earning. Ebrima is working with the Russians. The Russians came into the country through a Ghanaian, two Ghanaians, but the Russian economy, and then Ebrima, for the interest of the First Lady. Now that Ebrima Jabi is working with Gam Petroleum Managing Director, Yero Jallo, and the Minister of Energy is under instructions from State House and First Lady to allow this practice to go in. You see the corruption. When I first agitated and exposed it, you know what they did? The Minister of Energy, Abla Job Nobin, he went and brought out new directives to try to justify some of these operations. Imagine that. That shows you how powerful these people are. Now, these Russians do. They have two accounts. The accounts are run from Dubai and Turkey. Now, even in the Gambia, they were not holding an account. They are using the account of one of the Nigerians. Now, that Nigerian said, look, the Nigerian even took them to the system to court. Because, look, I cannot pay for this tax. You are evading tax. Can you imagine that? They are not operating. They don't have a license.
Oh, my God.
Now, who allows that? I exposed it. They reacted. The minister reacted. I still have the documents. I first published a document to prove. But did you hear the opposition talk about this?
No.
This is our problem. Do you hear about civil society talk about this?
No.
With all this corruption going. And this is why we are poor. They're taking loans, they're taking grants, and this is affecting our economy. They cannot create jobs, and because all money they have, and let me tell you this. There are people directly involved, and there are people indirectly involved. These are the people I named directly involved. But there are other people indirectly involved. You don't know the citizens and others do have kickbacks because of they are gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
They facilitate things to happen. They are gatekeepers to parliament, they are gatekeepers to state house. That's why I said many people are involved in this corruption. But it's mainly government. It's mainly government.
It is mainly government, it is always at somebody at State House, closer to the president, either the wife or the president himself are having kickbacks there. Because whatever I don't know, there's no position in our constitution for the First Lady. So to the extent that people will come through her, to deny Gambians, they don't have license, they are operating in the Gambia, they don't even have a bank account, the money flies from the Gambia to the others, they didn't broaden the tax base, they are overtaxing our small businesses and killing them, and now a small country driving their own people into poverty, destroying people's infrastructure, the poor people's markets, they are scared and all of they are in Gunjur currently, and they are dismantling places. People's who's just, the pillars comes out a little bit out of, they think it's a public space. I don't know how they determine that. Nobody determined that these are people's lands and all those things. You didn't tell them should be your demarcation. This is where you stop. From here to there is a public space. You never tell anything to anybody until one day you just come with all these hammers and soldiers, armed to the teeth, the police and all those things, destroying pillars, destroying people. So some people will never come back again, and destroying the economy of the country, and going to increase the level of suffering, the death, the disease that is hovering over the Gambia, and people are dying on a daily basis. Nothing to do with God, as we are led to believe. Everything is God. Everything is God. Our government is just creating havoc, driving our people poorer and making them and taxing them even poorer. They become so poor to the extent that now they can go and give you a bag of rice a half bag of rice and you think that's the end of your life and you will going to vote for them, or you refuse to vote in the names of you are going to vote for oppositions and all those things. Ben, why are Gambians not saying this? Because, I know you are working, you are a family, you are doing constantly on food, getting information, getting intelligence, because that is the difficult part of everything, to bring this information. Any information on your table, you don't jump, to come out with it. You have to verify, you have to do weighing and all those things. Oppositions are not doing it. Only yes, credit to UDP, certain members will come, Dr. Lamin Mane will come out, Dr. Larry Sise, Dr. Koma will come out and talk, definitely. And you will have MC Cham and all that. So we have to give credit to them. At least they are not doing what they should do, but they are the only ones who are in front. And they are not the only political party in the Gambia. Where are the other political parties? Now the civil servants at the beginning, the civil service at the beginning, they were active. None of them are active anymore. In terms of just sporadically, they come here and there, they make statements and all those. That's the end of it, Brother Ben. What is going on in the Gambia? There's no peace, there's no enjoyment. Yes, we can take our money 2 weeks and go on holiday there and think Gambia is nice, Gambia and all those things. But there's nothing nice in the Gambia. We all know that. Go ahead, Brother Ben. What is going on? And after that, we come to the Ministry of Land, Regional and Religious Affairs. Still without a minister, Brother Ben. No minister. Why? Go ahead.
Ebrima, you see the implication here is, this repatriation of money. And we wonder why our dollar is depreciating. That's one angle. Why our dollar is depreciating. Because, the traditional way of doing this, two things. One was you have local, what we call local marketing companies, in petroleum marketing companies. Now, these people, what they do is, they were not moving money. What they were doing is, they were getting guarantees from the banks in order to get supplies and vice versa and pay. You see, the transaction was in dollars, but everything was interbank exchange. Mainly that was happening. But these people came and distorted the market, because everything they sold is converted to dollars and shipped out. Now they're causing the dollar to depreciate, but again, they are not paying tax. And we all know, if, let's say 15% was paid in tax, what is 15% of $1 billion? That's what, I am not good in maths, but I think that's 150 million. You see?
It is.
Yeah, I'm not good in maths, but I think, now, 150 million. Would that not build a school? How many schools? How many hospitals? How many jobs creation initiative and all the things? Many. Now, and if it continue, will be over 2 billion. That will be about 300 million, 560. That's how it goes. But who are benefiting? We see the evidence in them, in governance. Now, the other big Gambians don't think about, if you empower a Gambian, if you empower Gambian business, what happens is, when Ben Suwareh gets more, Ebrima gets more, Lamin gets more, Aisha to Mariama, what do? It trickle down to families, trickle down to friends, trickle down to society itself. They'll build more houses. They'll invest in, diversify in business, or they'll expand their business, and all that create more tax and jobs, activities, and so on. You see? But what these people did is, in fact, bankrupt the mainstream. Many Gambians that were engaged could not. They just have to buy from them. And it's not favorable. But again, the third bit we have to think about, because of they don't respect us, because our law, our government is not respectable. They're cheap. They bring the dirty oil. The Gambians are paying for something that, well, am I on it online? Gambians are paying for something that is destroying them. And this is not only destroying the vehicles, because the emissions, the amount of sulfur and other things the health,
Yeah.
especially with this congested traffic. Now imagine the pollution going on affecting that. It's bad in many ways. But because of, again, the government strategy, self-sensitive in a way, government is buying out people. We all seen that evidence. Government, I can tell you, they're buying out media houses. Media houses are self-censoring because of they want advance from government and government institutions. We have seen Kelfatu being punished because of they are perceived. Now, you see the self-censor go on and go on. Now, civil society, most of them are not active because of civil society is a way of making money. They wait for election to come and they go for election activities and other activities. Most of them, I said, not all of them. And the citizens are divided. They see every speck in in a lens of tribalism. When I say there's no tribalism in Gambia, I mean individual tribes don't hate each other. But there's a system of tribalism created by government in order to keep control. And they call it a strategy. And this is what has transpired here. We have seen people, educated people who should know better. No, they will fail to criticize government because of, that's a kind of will benefit UDP. Because of if the government fail or if government is not popular now, UDP to benefit. Who said that? What stopped other parties from being active or work on themselves so that when government is held accountable, they will be part of this thing and gain from it?
Definitely.
But again, the tribalism, they have that in themselves. They suck into the tribes, the system of tribalism. Now they are active and playing a part of being tribalists to the UDP. And again, within the UDP, because of the system of tribalism being played, some people within the UDP are reacting or acting in a way which make them to be seen as tribalists. This is why I said there's a system of tribalism being put in by government, and we had the mobile for say that was their tactics. Now we are seeing this continue. Now, and if we're not careful, this is how they get away with stuff. It's not only what they bribe to people, communities, but they keep them ignorant. We are to inform them. But again, as I said, that's why the opposition should learn from positive. When they learn from positive, UDP can learn from positive. Yeah, we are doing this, but do we need to change some of the things we do? Should we be talking to other people more than keep on preaching to the choir?
Brother, I think I will have Dr. Mane here to ask him some of these things, because the strategy, there seems is a repetition of the same thing, and it's foolishness. If we are doing the same thing and getting the same results and not changes, then that's foolishness, definitely.
Now, the other thing people can learn from positive. PWIs can learn from positive. Other small parties can learn from positive. It took them 10 years, bro. 10 years to become the leader of the opposition. 10 years to post a threat that they can win an election. Even if the elections will be stolen, they have a chance of winning it. It's 10 years. And we all know that they are facing the same problems we have in Gambia or worse. And guess what? Even the word money, it became not a problem to them because the people take ownership of the project. They sold them a project. And guess what? The people finance them and it's sustainable.
Yes, Ben, I think the Gambian elites and the Gambian people, especially the elites, the educated fool, Stalin will call them, need to grow beyond this. It is their selfish interest. They hide behind tribalisms and all those things. As you said, we are all tribes. The group of tribes don't hate each other in the Gambia. It's individuals for their own political and their selfish interests, peddling these things. We are getting married. We attend each other's funeral. We celebrate together. We intermarried and all those things. So yes, it's the political strategy for politicians who have no interest for the country, but their own pocket, and the small group of people, their families, their friends, and we can see people who were as poor as church mouses less than 3 years ago are building 2 mansions of millions, are having cars. But then, Ministry of Lands, regional government and religious affairs, what is happening there? No minister still. Why? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ebrima. Let me explain this again. Remember, I said this before. Nothing, things happening. And this is where we should land, that we might end up to what Senegal did. You see, succession planning is only successful where there's good governance. If you fail to have good governance, what happened? You destabilize the country.
Yeah.
Because you see, the reason is dictated in developing democracy that there's a two-term. I mean, that's why even example is UK. We don't have a term limit because we don't need it. Because our democracy is more mature than the US. US put this thing in place because they were avoiding. And that's how they developed their democracy. You see, where you have a failure of good governance, what it creates is that corruption eats into the fabric of society. And the absolute corrupt will try to hold on to power as much as possible, because that's the only way they can have monopoly of the corruption. If they lose power, they would be held accountable. The only reason they're able to be corrupt and the wealthy is because of they are not held accountable, because of they control power. That's what's called the power capture. They capture the state and they run it like that. And you know, when we came into government and everything, and I said that Barrow have come to the realization or been exhausted or already that now he's finding a way to save himself. What happened to Macky Sall? That's they say Macky Sall end up now trying to cling onto power because of now he can't even trust anyone to take over from him. He would have done that, but he tried to stay on. He could not. Now he's fighting for his life. When this happened in the Gambia, before the elections, they started to see how to sustain themselves. This is the power captures. And one person who was very strategic about it was the SIS of the DG of the SIS, Usman Sow.
Yeah.
Usman Sow played his game right. And people started to scramble. When they were scrambling, he was acting as a professional, advising the president and strategizing and so on. And the minute before any group or any person hijacked any group to consolidate, he saw his cards out. That's what led him to cabinet. And to take over the local governance. Remember, local governments, it's about mobilizing and, and lands. Now, the core group of the APRC, which is Fabaka Tombong, the SeneGambians, the Queen James and others, and the other technocrats of the APRC, that's what he wanted to use to lead. When they were going on the negotiations and everything else, there was a group led by Mohamed Jah. And those people thought they could get him on side as their ally. He played up. That's why the minute he went into government, and everybody, they see that he is positioning himself, that was the time Mohamed Jah group was silenced. They thought that they have lost because he'd been working with them, but they didn't realize that he was controlling their influence to the president. They thought they would go through him to consolidate on their influence to the president. And when this happened, SeneGambia and some of the people in that group were not happy because they don't want him to lead them. He was rival to SeneGambia, but he was rival to Mohamed Jah group. But Boaz Sedi, the governor of Central Bank, was approached by mainly people from the UDP within NPP, but with Wage, the Senegalese businessman, they approached him to say to him, we want you to be our candidate to Barrow to hand over to you. That's why the policies of the Central Bank, you can see them, how politicized they are. And the Inspector General of Police is part of that group. Siaka Sonko is part of that group. That's why you see how politicized they are, how politicized the Inspector General is. Now, when Shaw went into government, mysteriously, something happened to him. He broke down, have a stroke, right? And they delayed, he could not be recovered, delayed and everything. And that had, when you have stroke, the first minutes, days, and counts. Before he get to Saudi Arabia, it was too late. He's recovering. I'm speaking to someone who knows. His speech is improving. His mobility is improving. But for one reason, they're holding the position. Because remember, the position is strategic. Now, Barrow, in fact, is under pressure, in fact, to resolve the cabinet. Don't be surprised anytime you hear new people come into cabinet. But the problem Barrow has is there's so much position you can give out. Now, because he is recruiting new people from other opposition, these people are expecting to give this thing. He have pardoned a lot of people. There's people expected. They are not just being pardoned for their crimes. They want jobs. Now, the civil service is full, and he has to exchange. There's no vacancies.
No.
But just like the last time he created those vacancies at the KMC and BAC as coordinators, all political appointments. Now, this is what Barrow is dealing with. Now, people are lobbying and knowing that this is a strategic position for us to control. Now, the Boaseli camp is trying to get that position. The Mohammed Dia camp is trying to get that position. The Sidinjai camp is trying to get that position, and it's confusing Barrow. According to what I have, information I received, they don't think that SISDG would be ready for now to get back to a present his recovery. And the reason they're holding onto it is only because of Barrow cannot decide which group to occupy it. This is my understanding, and this is the information that led me to my understanding.
Brother Ben, this positioning and this, pulling and pushing, everybody is positioning themselves. Did they have any idea that Barrow is not going to stand, or is Barrow going to go? Because if people are forming all the groups and gangs and groups, thinking that we are going to succeed the president, they must have a hint or an inclination or some kind of suggestion that the president will not be a president next 2026. Is that the case?
Yes. Okay. They have information that Barrow is not willing to stand for the next election. Let me put it that way. Not willing to stand for this does not mean that he will not end up standing. And I explained this precedence.
Yeah.
You said, that's why I said transitions and successions have to be planned very decisively. If not, it creates infighting. Even in developed democracies, the UK here.
Yes.
Whenever a party leader vacancy happens, you see the infighting.
Makes sense.
The bloodbath, and what it does to the party is they are disunited. Yeah. And you see the camps, the right wing, this thing, and even when if they're in government, it affects them. That's what it does. Yeah. And that's what happened to Labour before, when Gordon Brown and Blair were kind of playing games. But to bring it to Gambian context, Jawara. When Jawara said, I am going 1992 and start to deduct.
Yes.
See what happened, and that's what led to the coup. That infighting with the weakness of government groups, Bibi Dabo group, Sehu Sabali's group, other groups, and literally it led to the coup. Now, what happened? I first learned about this information before the elections. I dismissed it. Yeah, as I always look for evidence or a plausible explanation to this. I said it's just a strategy to fool people to vote for Barrow, thinking, let's just give him the second term. That's what I said to people. I never said on air. People are. Then after the elections, it came up again. Someone said to me, look into this. He said, Wage, the Senegalese Wage, and some UDP guys within NPP have approached Alkali Conte for that matter. They have appointed Boisedi for Boisedi to be this thing. And I said to that guy, don't believe that. I said it's because they want to get money from Boisedi. They want to follow him. That's what I said. But next minute, collaborated from different groups. Said to me, no, this is real. And I said, why? One, Barrow's health. The pressure is getting to him. But they said that Barrow is not even interested in governance.
Wow.
Barrow is interested in money. And he had made so much money now. That's why he said, you see, all this problem Barrow is getting into, because he doesn't even think for himself. And people come to him, this thing, he just signed all this thing.
He just signed it, yeah.
The only thing he's interested, that's why he created a permanent secretary for investment at the State House. If he open shop, guess what he's interested. But he's got so many. But they said he's got a challenge in health. And there's certain other things, their family, I don't want to get into it.
Yes.
But they're challenging to within the family too. That's two. 3, he's not interested in governance. 4, the challenge is ahead of him. Now, the pressure in Senegal, he doesn't, economic have to leave.
Yes.
Now, the issue that Barrow said he's not comfortable with the armed forces. That's a fact. He's not comfortable. Yeah. Now, and he cannot justify continuing presence of ECOWAS. Economic. Now, the strategy they placed was to link economic stay with the delivery of the TRRC recommendations. To justify, the recommendations might be a security threat or the thing, let's keep economic. Now, what they did now, they structure it in a way that they will be delaying it to last the election, his period in office. You see, for his security. That's one. Because secondly, too, they thought about that if economic win goes, they can have a bilateral with Senegal for Senegal to be present.
Wow.
But that too is a challenge because they cannot determine the next government.
The future of Senegal, yes.
You see, these things, they did the assessment. Now, other people say that they can convince. That's why when you see all these people now, these groups fighting back, they're trying to win over the security forces as well. That's why you see Boisedi saying that he's going to rehabilitate the army barracks, police barracks, hospitals. What Central Bank have to do with rehabilitation?
Definitely nothing.
His relationship with the IDP, the Kabudus and so on and so on. That's why you see Sidinjai always calling the chief of
the army commander,
and that's why he went to the security committee to lead the security intelligence committee, and all this kind of things.
Wow.
Now, this is an indication. But the other indications are what? Gambia and the ECOWAS. ECOWAS was trying to bring a policy of 2 terms.
Yes.
Senegal opposed it because of then Macky Sall wanted to more than 2 terms. Ivory Coast opposite, we all know is obvious.
Ouattara, yes.
And Togo opposite is obvious. But Gambia went for it. If Barrow wanted to stay more, he would like it to say no. Especially if Senegal have supported something, or they'll just be mute. No, because he knows that he's going. Then other things came up. The President Retirement Bill. Before the bill, Barrow said it in the open when he was meeting the Binding Council of Elders. He talked about his retirement.
He talked about it.
He said, if someone said, I am even looking for staff, I mean, that he's about to open shop.
Yes.
If you're not about to open shop, you will not look for staff. He has said about his vision. Oh, I want to retire. And he said to build a house. He's not saying that, I used to say, I'll retire to Canela. But he said to build. Remember that word, to build.
To build, yes.
That means it's not the existing resident he want to use. He want to build.
To build a new one, yes. Fit for purpose.
And we have evidence that besides Southerners residents, late Southerners residents, government land that was occupied by some of Yaya family, they have been evicted. And there's a kind of a deal going on, and it's that land they want to transfer to build to be his residence. Now, when he said that, it was so much this thing, and obviously it supported all these statements. But not only that, the president retirement bill came out.
Yes.
Or before that, after that, he actually went to late Odida's funeral.
Yeah.
Nobody asked him a question. Chat, he went on talking about his retirement. Is that coincidence?
No.
That's, you have to accept that. But then the bill came out, and the bill, look at the bill. It's talking about everything he wanted.
Yes.
There's already a retirement bill. That's already a bill. That's why Sadara benefited from what he had. But because he wanted more, and they want to make him to get more, he talk about building, we build a house for the retired president. Who are you going to build a house? They want to convince us anybody else would. It's him. He talk about even running an office.
Yes.
Permanent secretaries. People of level of permanent secretary. And he talk about vehicles, talk about drivers.
Payment for his wife,
final salary, payment for his holiday, payment for everything else. What else should convince Gambians? You see, these are the facts. This is what these people knew too, that is likely to happen. But as I said, it might not end up happening if he's not convinced. But do you know another thing they have to convince him of? Is to dismantle any opposition. You see, this is why, again, when we look at now, confirming what I know before, that is coming through the courts, even the shooting of PIU, now I am going to believe that these people did it to the PIU in order to have way of dismantling UDP.
Wow.
Now, this is my belief now.
It is your belief, yes.
Based by the information coming out from the courts. But this information, some of this, I was privy. I did not want to preempt the defense position. Now, you can see how far they go. And now we've seen the amount of money. We are not in election year.
No.
Then why are they so much active? We have seen Mohammed Jazan, CDC says, going around building offices.
Yes.
And they said it again, because, and Barrow said it when he was opening one of the offices, we want to make sure NPP will be here forever. I don't want to go and NPP goes like other political parties. Because, again, what does that fit onto you?
Yeah.
You see, now, all the election cycles is finished. Normally, even the election cycle finished, he goes back and
he goes back, yes, definitely.
But no, you see the amount of investment they put into the opposition to get the opposition to cross the bed. And only the major opposition. Only the major opposition, because they dismantled the rest.
The other one they dismantled.
They silenced it.
No, yeah.
Now they silence everything else. Now what they're doing, they're trying to silence Ben Suwareh with threats.
Yes.
They try to silence Madi Sisi. They try to silence any other voice and the opposition.
And Kerfatu and yes.
Now, if they're successful in that, then they will win him over. That he can retire thinking that I can be safe here, nobody will go after, the government will be stable, nobody will challenge them. This is another thing they're working onto to achieve. But now he has more dilemmas to work with. Now, the ECOWAS countries, these things before elections, God knows what's going to happen to Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, everything else makes it that is kind of incentive to try to get him out. I don't want, because he's scared.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be there when it happened. But again, as I said, the infighting might cause something else.
Yeah, Brother Ben, the desperation also, to link UDP with the Hussaini Bojangs, to the extent that now we saw the council of Hussaini Bojang, now allegedly, saying that in court that, Hussaini was drugged, he was tortured, so that they can take confession from him. This is a serious and avoid there, that's preliminary examinations of witnesses, a trial within trial now commence in the court now, to ascertain how true these issues are. So this government, Lamin Jeda, the representative of Hussaini Bojang, raised concerns that his clients' statements were obtained on the duress involving drugging and physically abusing and drugging him. Brother Ben, because another thing is Hussaini is illiterate, he can sign. Why does he also use the the thumbprint and all those things? Many things is in court, but it's everywhere in public domain. So that can kind of lean in against some of your beliefs concerning about the government desperation, because we saw Sangare who came out and lie and lie and lie his lie. But the same Sangare also came, to ascertain, to justify the pardoning of rapists and femicides, this and corrupt people like Dr. Banja. Also, the people who are murderers, who are raped. We have to keep hammering this. These things should not go. A 4-year-old girl, a 14-year-old woman, or a girl, just a teenager, a girl was strangled by somebody. They were all, and you have myriad of people who are in prison. These people are there. They are sentenced for life. You just come and pardoning them. And on top of that, Ben, I'm rushing this because, in 10 minutes time, we have to go anyway. The president give, amnesty over an adverse mentioning or finding by Commission of Inquiry, Janneh Commission, which some people came out, Lamin Jedabo, for example, said this is unconstitutional. But could the presidential pardon be politically motivated? The president pardon, that's a question for you, Ben. The president pardon murderers, rapists, now additional economic criminals benefited. Those who helped dictator Jammeh to loot the central bank, our country also. Has the president followed the due process in pardoning the rapists and murderers? Dr. Banja's pardon, how committed then is this government to fighting corruption? These are all questions, and of course, the Sonko trial we want to discuss, but we cannot discuss everything.
We can try another day. Yeah.
Yes, we are going to do. But this quickly, Brother Ben, might be in few minutes time.
Let me go for the pardoning first, then I'll come
go
to
ahead. Yes.
Usainu. Is it Usainu Boya?
Yes, Usainu Boya. Yes.
Yeah, I'll come to it now. The pardoning again. The economic criminals. That is the Sabali or Koli.
Yes.
And others.
Yes.
Nyoguba,
Sirawali and has the husband. Yes.
Yes. Again, that is an extension of this. As I said, Sabali was brought in to this camp, Boise, this camp, with the police IG. Again, this is just shows you how Barrow have undermined it. Now, remember, Sabali was first intimidated by the police, and through that's when it started.
And they stopped him from running as a parliament MP and constituent, rightly so.
Again, when they arrested him for the so-called coup d'etat that was never, and remember they're trying to frame it for that same coup d'etat.
Yes.
Definitely. Just shows you how they are. Now, when they got Sabali, that's when this negotiation started. And the IGP played the role, and Boasedis, and Musa Drame, who is in Boasedis camp. Now, but other people too were appealing for their people. Now, when it comes up that there's a possibility now to absolve Nyoguba and Sabali, then other people run for it. And again, the bill was introduced to Parliament on emergency basis. It's political. What's emergency about it? Why sponsor that bill? What's the need of anti-corruption bill then?
Yes.
Law. What's the point of all this commission of inquiries? Then who else? There's no one then held accountable for the Janneh Commission. Now, there's no recovery from the Janneh Commission, and there's no one held responsible. As I remember, we have spent over 50 million.
Yes.
Now, imagine there's another commission underway, which is the local government commission, but we have already seen people within the local government who are likely to be adversely mentioned have already started to move towards supporting the government so that they will be protected. Exactly. We are seeing Wahid Malik Law doing the same thing. To be protected, that's the reason. Now, it's political, obvious. Now, Abdul Koli, former central bank governor, is part of the Boasedis camp. I've checked it out. People thought it's part of the core APRC.
APRC camp, yeah.
No, you see, the core APRC and Boasedi camp, there's a way, there's an aspect of it, they intercross. But he and Sabali are part of this thing, but they fit in. If you look at their profile, they fit in the core APRC camp.
Yes.
Because they serve the APRC that long. Now, Yoruba is in the camp of Mohammed Jah. Because the vice president, finance minister, all those people, and the defense minister are all in Mohammed Jah's camp. You see? Then Sirawali is likely to be either in Mohammed Jah camp or in the core APRC camp. You see, again, it's political and it's all part of the maneuvering.
Yes.
And if you come to the criminals, murderers, rapists, been
pardoned, yes. Presidential pardon, yes.
It's illegal.
Definitely.
The only time you are executive allowed to pardon is not those sort of crimes. If where there's a miscarriage of justice and the recourse to justice is exhausted, and we find out that Alaji was innocent, some people even they might die.
Yes.
But because of we realize that was miscarriage of justice, the president would take that mercy and pardon the person. We have seen that happening. Now, or if it is a reconciliating move, for the public good. 1981, all the people that were incarcerated in 1981, they all end up being pardoned before they spend longer time.
Yes. Yes.
And again, not only because of reconciliation, but because of the crime they committed, it's not a crime they will likely commit again.
Exactly. Exactly.
They must have been, remorseful and all things for the time they spent there. It's not the same. They rage, there's a rebellion, and they jump in the fury of rebellion, and they went into it. But in this case, there's no way you treat a rapist. There's nothing in existence to rehabilitate a rapist. Someone who raped a 4-year-old, how can you rehabilitate that person? How can the public be safe? And we don't have any mechanism in public to monitor ex-offenders. There's no offender register. There's no pedophile register. There's no mechanism, tagging, or any system to monitor these people. All these rapists, they are going to reoffend. And Ebrima, we already know that it's very difficult, in fact, to convict rapists, even in developed worlds. Now, how can you look at the list of 7 people, murderers and rapists, and you sign on that? When you have women, after 37 people, only women been released. I don't know what crime they committed. The population of women at the prisons, population of youths at the prisons that have committed minor crimes, that are still at the age to be rehabilitated. Why can't you commit their sentence? Why can't you create a mechanism to look at the remand wing? There are youths in the remand wing for 2-3 years.
Yes.
Because they are not given a priority even for trial. You know the cases they give for trial? The cases people have family members, they can put them through, they push it so that they can have a conclusion and so they can do deals and get them out. But the poor Gambian will be sitting on remand and they will never go through the process. Yes. These are all the kind of priorities we should have to deal with. But the only reason these people are pardoned in the shop is political. Because now it's even coming out from their forums, NPP forums, that or because of these families have been approached to support President Barrow. You see, that's why, again, we should learn, victim families should learn on this. To be vocal and to stand with us so that we can challenge this government to hold accountable, because the government don't care about them.
Yeah. And Brother Ben, they are lying to say that they contacted the families and all those things. The lie is just upsetting for this government.
The government never tell the truth. Remember, again, I forgot that part. Remember when they talk about the asset recycle?
Yes.
You know what they said about the bridge was a lie. What came out from the budget? These people don't even, I think they got 15% of the money they said they were going to get now. And everything else they talked about was a lie. You cannot trust anything this government says. They don't respect us. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. But to come to the even more serious one is the miscarriage of justice.
Yes.
Not only the miscarriage of justice, but the potential, emphasize, the potential of, in fact, government colluding in killing their own people in order to dismantle a political party.
A political party, yeah.
And why did I come to this conclusion? What informed this information? Before I come to what coming out from the courts.
Go ahead, yes.
You know, when the crime happened, I did my analysis here before. And my analysis was based on what was present. Statements coming from the witnesses we had been interviewed, a scene of the crime, and other things coming out. But later, within the short period, something else came out. The CDS,
yes,
Chan, lives 100 meters away from the crime scene. And apparently, the suspect ran through that area.
Yeah.
When the crime happened and the lady was taken to the clinic, Cham went there and Cham spoke to the father of the double PC, woman police officer, in front of someone else.
Yeah.
And said to, oh, this must have been done by the UDP.
Wow.
And this was the first minute. How did he know?
Wow.
He said this must have been done by the UDP. Now, when I look at the scene of the crime and everything else, I was deducting that this must be done by the drug cartel.
Yes. I had your analysis before.
Yeah, that was my decision. Because why did I say that? Because drug cartels do this to send a message and stuff like that, and the expertise needed. Because the person to do this, I profile the person. Because, Ebrima, hey, it's not easy to go on point blank range to shoot at someone even that did something to you.
Yes.
Regardless of police officers. And even the police officers were armed with an AK-47 more powerful than you.
Exactly.
Now, what motivated you to go after those people?
Point blank. With an AK-47, yes.
Yeah. That person
and three of them, not one.
Yeah. That person must have known something we don't know. That person must be deceived. That's why I said profile did not even fit Usainu. I didn't know that of Usainu. But again, there's one of the victims is called Pate Jallo or something like that.
Yes.
That Pate Jallo became, I said, after when I looked at it, I said, it's not a coincidence. When the theory started to develop, they started to develop a theory or accusing the UDP. I now said, no, wait. When I looked at it, I know the UDP don't have the capacity to hire anyone. It's not their mode of approach. I know. It doesn't make sense. Now, I looked at it. I started to have my doubts. That Pate Jallo who was heading the PIU, is it a coincidence that the victim here too is called Pate? Or did the authorities know to send someone called that name in order for when the crime happened, they can try to put a plausible argument that, the gunman thought this, hired gunman thought that this is Pate of the PIU decision. Because remember, it was that picture that some of the UDP were putting out.
Yeah.
And agitating and others sending threatening messages. Then the crime happened not out of a vacuum. Something happened before that. It was this case with Yankuwa Dabo going to the courts.
Yes.
And the incident happened from the courts. And again, the incident happened involving the Sabali family.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
when it happened, now the police came with a statement. Not the police, actually the spokesperson, Sankare.
The spokesperson, yes, Sankare.
Shameless Sankare. Went to Peter Gomez, just as Peter always gives them a platform to throw out any garbage they want. Technically, without naming the UDP, everybody knows he was talking about the UDP. Or the court case, even that happened, this guy was there.
Yeah. And he says he's an employee of Brikama Area Council, yes.
And he's an employee of Brikama Area Council. And he said, we have the evidence.
Yes.
He didn't say anything. And he said, he's hired. He's paid. We know who hired him. We know how much he got paid. We know where they met. We know the mosque they met. We know the hotel they met. Ebrima, Yes. That amount of allegations, when the case started to fall, the police came and owned up to that intelligence. Hey, when you have intelligence, it's deprived from information. If there's a defect of intelligence, you can easily detect it. It cannot be in totality. You can see what information might lead to this. But these were things like, if you get me information that Ebrima works for Brikam Area Council, it's easy for me to verify that before going to the press. Then where did the information come in that we know how much he was paid? Now the police came and moved away, took responsibility and moved away from that. But before that, what happened? The president went and made the exact statement.
Yes.
And calling it a terrorism act of terrorism, with the interior minister and everything else, and giving an award of $1 million. Again, I said, no, there's something not right. This is politicized now. Let's look for the facts. We attacked it based on the information. I said, no, I'm not convinced. I'm looking for an expert, and this is, the next week they called for a press conference again. The deputy IG, what did he say?
Exactly.
The Casamas MFDC.
Yes.
Because of now the profile of Usainu, a victim they picked up somewhere, and from they have a statement from a woman, Mama Jabi, but the police want to avoid Mama Jabi as a witness. The police invented the way they arrested Usainu. They said that they pick a mobile signal here, they follow the coded this thing, and they read the code coordinates to Casamas, and they involved.
I remember you came against that bone, and you opened them up. Oh, you know, yes.
I said that's all lies. One, they don't have the technology even to pick any call in that area. Two, they don't have the technology to it's a lie. And this coordinate doesn't even sound anything right. And other people came out of it. Now, when they went to court, nothing of this came. Now the UDP conspiracy is not coming. Now the MFDC conspiracy is not coming out. In the court now, we don't even know, we found the gun, we don't find the gun. Someone comes to say, I hand over a gun which was dismantled. You cannot throw a pistol and it becomes dismantled.
Yes, definitely.
Even if you throw it to a rock, it doesn't get dismantled.
Even if you hit the rock with it, you know, it's gonna take a lot of hitting, you know.
Yeah.
Brother, but we don't have much time, so you have to wrap this thing up quickly.
Yeah. But again, the final point is, during this investigation agitation, someone called me, I know. He said, look, bro, I am disturbed. What I found out, he said he went to anti-crime. And remember, the lawyer was denied to see this thing because of they don't want to find to find out. Even when he was charged, he should not have been at the anti-crime.
Yeah. We realized the lawyer put the note out. He's scanning for everywhere for his client. He couldn't get hold of him.
Now, this guy said something to me. He said that he went there for another person. He was sitting there under the tree or something. And he said, next minute, he realized it's Usainu sitting by him. And Usainu turned around and looked at it. He said, Usainu is like someone possessed.
Yeah.
Might be the drugs. But he said that definitely this guy is being tortured. That's what that person said. And he said that,
and you know that before?
Yeah, before.
Wow.
Usainu said to me, Usainu said to him that, Uncle, this Uncle man munuma reini. You know, talking that they grabbed him and took him back.
Listen.
When I heard about that, I said, no, this is not something for me to bring out. I remember I was on Freedom and two other, it was a live, and two other people came in, and somewhere alleging to this, I said, no, I'm just holding back. Because at times, some of this information is good to leave it to the defense.
Yes. I
got the information. I know what I did with the information. The rest, I left it with the defense. Now, knowing lawyer J. Dal, he's responsible. he would not want to defend anyone knowing that that person have committed crime.
No.
And especially, he's not paid for this.
No.
He stepped up to say that he saw it and no, it's not right. And he jumped up to say, I'm going to defend. They are not related.
No, he
They are
doesn't.
not related. There's nothing in this, but it's the injustice. And for that, knowing that, he would not then fabricate or tell the victim to fabricate any statement. And if a statement comes to him, he will look at to the credibility of the statement. Now, whatever come out from the courts, I can tell you that I cannot see Ousainou this thing. But now, if now Ousainou is not guilty of it, who is guilty of it?
Who is guilty?
Why now the state is under suspect? And now I can tell you, because of this information, I can say that they did it in order to get UDP.
In order to get UDP, but we are going to wrap it here. My man is in the Gambia, producing the program, so he's taking off today. As always, thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners wherever they are. Sorry for the technical fault that we have at the beginning of the program, and now we are back, the issues that we have in our hands. Every week, God willing, we will come here and analyze issues, of course, with Ben and any other Gambians who is interested. What we are pleading to Gambians, let's come out and voice. All these things is happening is the government related. Their country is retarding, is going back. Nobody else is responsible other than majorly for our government. The corruption, any decision, anything that this government do, that is politically motivated, is killing our women. Our people are dying because of the decision that they are making, the budget decision that they are making. There's no hospital medications in hospitals. People are dying in road accidents more than diabetes and hypertension. People are dying all over the place. Women are dying. Our people are dying. Criminals are littered all over the place. Next week, probably, we will discuss about crime and the irresponsibility of the government to even talk about, to acknowledge about the crime. People are dying endlessly. Bodies are being littered, all over the place. Any other day, they will send somebody chance on a dead body and nobody will investigate this. And this can affect everybody. So that is why we need to come and talk about this and take action to salvage that small country, beautiful country, but that beauty is in our hands to protect, to continue. But we can go back again. Look at Senegal, democracy, everybody is talking about them, how regressing they are now because of leadership and the corruption and the leadership decision. That's why, thank you, Ben, for all your energy. Like any of us, you have your work, you have your family, but the amount of time that you spend to fight for the cause of Gambia, and the whole sub-region, it has to be commended by all of us, because you are staying in the UK, your families are here, you can stay and concentrate on your things like what other people are doing. But thank you once again. We will not going to be quieting. We will not going to be scared to come out and discuss things. If the government do well, we will come here. That's what we want, for our governments to do well, and we all can be proud of our country and probably go back and settle in our country. We cannot be away for the rest of our life. Nobody wants that. We want to come get our education, get our monies and whatever skills and whatever experience we get, and go back and dispense that into our country and say that that's the beauty, that's the intrinsic enjoyment that one can have. Whatever you have, you share with your country, you contribute to the development of your country. But things are not going right in that country. It's corruption, it's lies, it's injustice that are going there. Anybody that say otherwise, come and prove us wrong. But once again, thank you to our listeners wherever you are, and thank you to our CEO Lamin Jame. With all your busy schedule in the Gambia, you are producing this program for us. And on behalf of Gunjur Online, I say thank you to all of you once again. We will see you next week, hopefully with Brother Ben and everybody else. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.